Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to make this kissy face emoji pillow. The size roughly is about 26 centimeters, which is about 10 inches diameter. You're going to need a 5mm H and a 4mm G to make this. We're gonna make the face with the 5. We're gonna make all the face parts with the 4mm. So you can just set that one aside now. So grab some yellow. You're going to make a slip knot. You're going to chain 3. And in this first chain, you're going to put 15 double crochets. That's 15. And give this a little tug and pull your center closed. Don't have much of a tail. So you can slip stitch into the top of that first chain. Chain 2. And every stitch around you're going to put 2 double crochets. This here is not a stitch, so don't use it. That is what this came off of. So this is where you stop. Seems like a big gap, but if you go over to the top of this first chain, it'll close the gap in. You're going to slip stitch. And you're going to chain 2. So when we start all of our rounds, we're going to start by putting an extra double crochet into here. That's just going to be throughout the video. So you're going to do an increase. So every single row from here is going to be an increase row. So you've got your 2. Your next stitch is going to be 1 double crochet. And your next stitch is going to be 2 double crochets. So we're going 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet all the way around. So this is typical. Next stitch gets 2, so I do that all the way around, and I will meet you on the other side. So you should have ended your sequence with 1 in this last stitch. This is not a stitch, it's a fake stitch. This last stitch you should have ended with 1 because we started with 2 in the same stitch up here. So you can just slip stitch to the top of that first chain and chain 2. So your next round, like I said, it's going to start with one in the same stitch as your chain 2. Your next 2 stitches is going to be 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, 1 in each hole, and then you're going to start over. You're going to put 2 in here, and that's your increase, is 2 in the same hole, then 1 double, and 1 double. So that's your repeat, 211, 211, 211. So you can do that all the way around, and I will meet you on the other side. So I've come back around, and I'm just going to slip stitch to the top of that first chain, and I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to put a double crochet into that same space. So my next round is going to be 2 1 1 1. So that's 2 there. So the next 3 stitches get 1 each, double crochet. And then you start again. So this is how we increase and keep our circles flat. This is how we do it. In case you're wondering why I'm doing what I'm doing. So that's your repeat. 2 1 1 1. Those 2 stitches, and that's your increase. And then 1 1 1. So repeat that, and I will meet you on the other side. Alright guys, so again I'm back around, and I am just going to slip stitch. So this is the first chain, so when I say to the top of that, I mean right there, the top. She does a post underneath it, in case you're wondering what I keep saying. Chain 2 and put a double crochet into that same space. So your next round is going to be 2 1 1 1 1. So 2 doubles and then 4 double crochets, 1 in each hole. So that's your repeat. 2 double crochets and then 4 double crochets over the course of 4 stitches. And I will meet you back on the other side. So I am done this row. I was just counting my stitches. It doesn't really matter what number you have. You can't really screw this up. I could do the math and tell you what number you should have, but every time I build one of these, they are never the same. I can tell you right now. I screw them up every single time. I never have the same count. This last row needs to have the same count as your next one. So it doesn't matter what your counts are all the way through, as long as after we do this last row, you're going to need to count your stitches. When you make your second piece, the last row has to count the exact same stitches as your other piece. Reason being is because we're going to crochet this together and we're going to do it stitch for stitch. So if you don't have the exact same number of stitches for each piece, then you're going to get bunches. It's going to bunch because you're not going to be able to go stitch to stitch. So that's the only reason I say that. It doesn't matter what's all in here. You can screw this up as many times as I do, and it's not going to matter as long as this last row, which we're doing now, matches your other piece. So your last row is going to be 2, which we just did, and 5 double crochets. So all we've done throughout is just gone up 1 each time. So your increase stays the same as 2. First row we did 2 1 2 1, then we did 2 1 1, so we went up by 1 double crochet, and then we did 2 1 1 1, so 3, we went up by 1 double crochet. So that's how you do a flat circle. So if you wanted to make a blanket, if you're making a blanket, obviously you're going to be it's a lot bigger than this, and you wanted a round blanket, that's how you would do it, is you would just keep your increase as 2 but go up every single time. So 2 1, next row would be 2 1 1, next row would be 2 1 1 1, the next row would be 2 1 1 1 1. So that's all we're doing here, in case you didn't pick up on the pattern that we were doing. That's what we're doing. So this last row is going to be your increase of 2 and then 5 double crochets, and then you'll have to count your stitches and then make your other one. So I'll put my pause screen up and with the what you have to do to make your second piece, because I'm not going to make the second piece with you, and then I'll meet you back here after and we'll do the face parts. Okay, so I've got my 2 pieces. One I fastened off with, and one I did not. I wrote this on the pause screen. So let's go ahead and crochet this together first. Well, let's go ahead and make our face parts. So this I crocheted on, so we can do that after it's stuffed together. This we can make, and then the eyes, and then we can sew it on before we crochet it together, so that might make more sense. So these guys you could just toss aside for now. You're gonna have to change needles to a 4, which I believe is a G. Get some of your red. Get some red. So you're gonna start with a slip knot. You're going to chain 2. In the first stitch, you're going to put 2 single crochets. So we're starting at the point and working up. Pull your slip knot closed. You can chain 1. Turn your work. So you have a little tiny. It is very tiny. In each of these 2 holes, you're going to put 2 single crochets in each. So we're just trying to increase at this point. Make sure on this side you're getting that 2 stitches or 2 pieces of yarn, because I know it's kind of a sidewaysy stitch. Chain 1, turn your work. So there you've got 4 stitches now. So our increases are going to be 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 2 single crochets in the last stitch, and then just regular in between. But your first stitch is right here. So 2 single crochets go into the first one. Just a 1 single crochet can go into the next 2 stitches, and then your last stitch is going to be 2 single crochets. So that now gives you 6 stitches. Chain 1, turn your work, and in those 6 stitches you're just going to do 1 each for this row. We don't need this heart to be very big, so it's just going to be very, very small. We do have to increase the next row because we have to split the humps evenly, so we need a decent size hump. So chain 1, turn your work. 2 singles in this, 2 singles in that, and then That should give you 8. Chain 1, turn your work. So now you're going to do, starting in this very first stitch, 4 single crochets. You're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn your work. And again, you're going to do 4 single crochets. Chain 1, turn your work. So now we want a nice rounded hump. Few ways you can do it. For this guy though, I just chose to do just single crochet these 2 together. And then single crochet these 2 together. Chain 1 and fasten off. We're going to reconnect. Go right into the very next stitch. Put your yarn in and pull through. Single crochet with both pieces, just to kind of lock everything in there. And then you just need your lead. I'm going to try to weave this in. You're going to do 4 single crochets. Well, you're going to do 3 now because that reattachment kind of counts as 1. And 3. Chain 1, turn your work. 4 single crochets. Just doing the same as you did on the other side. Might be a little harder to get into that attached stitch, but it is possible. Chain 1, turn your work. Single crochet these 2 together. Single crochet these 2 together. You're not done, so don't fasten off. Chain 1. You're going to single crochet, weaving in your ends all the way around. So there's no stitches down the side. You're going to kind of create them as you go. And just try to space them out evenly. It'll look fine. So just stick your needle wherever you can get your needle in. Don't worry about it curling because you are going to be sewing it to something. So when you get down to the bottom, put 2 in here, just to kind of keep the point. Now you can go back up. So once you come back round, I'm just going to go into this now. I'm going to slip stitch and then I'm going to fasten off with a sewing tail. So whatever you waved in, you can just snip off now. You don't need to mess about with it. And that's why we weave in, because it turns out to be easy peasy. So it's a little curly, but don't worry about it because when you sew it on, it's going to be perfectly fine. So there's our heart. My end's straggly, so I'm just going to kind of cut it off. So we're still using our 4. The mouth, like I said, I single crocheted on. So the black oval eye will do now. Look at this magic ring right out of the way. Six single crochets into the center of this magic ring. Hold tight. And I know it's really hard to see, but you're just gonna have to jam your needle in and see if you can. Like, I struggle so bad to see these stitches, but I just jam a needle in. If it goes in, it goes in. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around for a total of 12. So I've come back around. I'm just going to do it in a spiral, so I'm just going to keep going. The next 2 stitches are going to get 2 double crochets in each stitch. So you can use a stitch marker here. I don't think it's super duper important as long as you're following what I'm doing, but we'll use one just for the video. So the next stitch gets 2. Make sure I'm going into the next stitch. 2 double crochets as well. We're just trying to shape our eye at this point. The next 3 stitches are going to get single crochets. The next 3 stitches are going to get 2 double crochets in each stitch. And you're going to do 3 more single crochets, 1 in each of the 3 stitches, and then your last stitch is going to be 2 double crochets. So we are going to slip stitch in there, and we're going to fasten off with the sewing tail as per usual. So this isn't your oval eye. It is very hard to keep it oval when you're sewing it on, but as far as this guy goes, you can keep him. Stick it down. Just stick it down through here, and then when we're done, we're going to tie these 2 at the back. So keep all your pieces. That's our oval eye. Now we can do our winky eye. So just make a slip knot. I guess I never really show you. There's a few ways to make a slip knot. So one way you can come over and then come over, and that's a slip knot, and that's the easiest one to do. So let me show you again. So put your string on like this, take this guy, come over, and then take this guy and come over your entire finger. So then your needle goes into him, and it's slip knot works well. So you're going to chain 11. The first two stitches that you, well, the first one that you can get into and the next one are going to be just single crochets. Then you're going to do 2 half double crochets over the next 2 stitches, so 1 in each. I know it's hard to see. It's such a short project. Then you're going to do 2 double crochets over the next 2 stitches. So 1 in each. Then you're going to do 1 in each, 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then the last 2 stitches are just going to get single crochet. So you can pull everything tight, slip stitch, your work, fasten off with a sewing tail as usual. So when we do sew this, I say sew a lot. When we do sew this on, even though it's got this type of a shape, you're still going to have to arch it a bit when you sew it on, but that's not a great big deal. Not a big deal at all. So I've got all my pieces. So take the one that doesn't have, this is the one I'm still attached to, so just take this guy and make the decision as to where you want to start. It's very hard to see my seam. Oh, there it is, I think that's my seam. Very hard to see my seam, but I like to have it at the top, even though I'm not sure if that's my seam. Oh, this might be my seam. I don't have a very prominent seam, so hopefully you don't either. So I'm going to do the mouth after. So let's do the eye. So let's do the biggest eye. Doesn't matter what needle you use, you're just going straight through the thing. So it doesn't really matter. But first we'll put this guy down so we can kind of find the spot that it needs to be. So figure out where you want your eye. So keep in mind, you're going to be stuffing this too. So it looks like I kind of went between the 3rd and 4th row type deal. That seems high to me. I'm just going to stick it. So this is my center. I'm going to stick it on the bottom of the, or at the top of the 2nd row. I'm going to put my eye on the bottom there. Actually, maybe it come down a bit to the top of the 1st row outside of your circle start. So you can make the decision. This guy's just gotten shoved through and out because we're going to use him to tie onto after, so the sucker's not coming out after. So you might want to not be like me, and you might want to actually put a couple of pins in so it doesn't move. I am so bad for not pinning stuff. And then it moves on me. And then I go, oh, my eye moved. And I get a little pissy about it. So once you think you've got your spot, I'm going to go down first. I'm coming up just on this side of the stitches, just because I'll show you why. Because I don't want to see that, like I did here. So after I stuffed it, yeah, you could see my stitches there, so that's why I'm coming into here. Lessons learned. I do not sew. And when I do not sew well. So don't take lessons from me, but that's why I'm coming in. So I'm going to do big long stitches at the back and then short stitches at the front. Not so much the black, but the other colors, you'll see the stitches at the front, possibly. So that's why I'm just doing short stitches, so it looks like a stitch. So I feel like I got a really weird shape to my eye. Right there. I don't know why. But anyway, take the pin out. I'm just going to tie it in the back. So I'm not going to pull tight. I pull tight for my second knot, but not my first knot. So this guy's supposed to be winking. Let's go in closer. So, like I said, you're going to have to kind of shape this as you go. We go right down into the eye to pull that piece down. Just because it didn't look right where it was. So again, I'm going to stay in the black because I don't want it to show when I fill it. So large stitches in the back, short stitches in the front. I'm just going to pull up in the center here to keep my arch. This pin's kind of right in my way. I really just want that to arch properly. Oh, you should have known I was doing something wrong and just went down. See why you shouldn't take sewing lessons from me? So I'm going to hold that arch up there the best I can. So at this point, we're going to have to guess where this guy goes. And so, I mean, you can put it just about anywhere. The regular emoji, it is really close to the edge of the face, if not kind of hanging off of it. But you obviously can't do that with a but I'm gonna. So let me show you. This one's off a bit, but just below this circle, I did the mouth, which is just a number 3. We can kind of curve this up more to look like lips and maybe turn it sideways. This is supposed to be kind of... So wherever we put the heart, we're just going to have to build the mouth around it. That's just all there is to it. But I'm going to try to kind of see it in my head and then try to come off of it. So I'm going to put my heart here. I can't really tell you where here is because I can... Short stitches in the front, long stitches in the back. These ones you will see. I'm about back around to where I started. I've got nothing to tie this to, but you can see where the heart is. You're going to weave it in and out, back and forth, and you're going to do it in this area so that it doesn't show through, so that nobody will really know that you did that. So now all we have left to do is to put this together with our other piece. And then do the mouth. Go back to your number 5. I have not slip stitched. I'm just going to slip stitch this together. So you're going to line up where you want it. So I'm just going to go seam to seam here. So when I go into my next stitch, oops, and I'm just going to single crochet. This is why we needed to go stitch for stitch. If you wanted to whip stitch this together, you can go right ahead and do that. I feel this is faster, and aesthetically I like the look of it. So we're going to go stitch for stitch, and we're going to do this until we have a little bit of hand room, and then we're going to stuff it, and then we're going to do our mouth. So go ahead and do that. You don't need me for that. It's pretty simple. And I will meet you back on the other side. Alright, so I've got about enough for my hand. I'm going to start stuffing this. So you definitely don't want to overstuff this, because then your eyes and your other stuff's going to look funny. Bag out of the way. I buy big boxes of stuffing from Michael's. It's like 40 bucks, but it lasts me, and I do a lot of dolls. Like, I do a lot of stuff that needs stuffing, and it lasts me a few months for 40 bucks. So I took this bag that I got in a gift basket wrap thing from my daughter. So I just took it and I take from the box and put it into the bag, so it's easier to transport for when I come and do videos and need it at my craft table, as opposed to, you know, where I sit and I design all my stuff. So that's why I've usually got this great big bag. I was just taken straight out of the box, and then my husband's like, that's stupid, get a bag. But if you push on it and it doesn't bounce back, you know, you need more. But mine's bouncing back, so I think I'm okay. I don't want to put too much in there. I have a bad habit of overstuffing my pillows. So I get that right out of the way. Finish sewing this or crocheting this up. So you probably get why I expected you to go stitch for stitch and have the same amount of stitches. I actually didn't count mine, I didn't even think about it. So hopefully I have the right amount of stitches. So you can finish sewing yours up and I'll meet you back here after. So I'm right coming to the end of mine. You're going to have a weird spot where your seam, like where you fastened off from before. But other than that weird spot, what have I got into? To go into the stitch, you're going to slip stitch. Sorry, I don't even know if that was on camera. And you're going to fasten off. You don't need anything for sewing, just for weaving. So you want to weave this in just in case. So do a sewing tail anyway. So you're going to have to move your stuffing back up to the top because I didn't have any up there. So you're going to have to play with it to move your stuffing around because I'm sure you got it all jacked up when you sewed the rest together. Pick your... So you can go at the back and you can weave it in and out of your stitches, but you can also go down into the pillow. Pull that tight so that knot kind of drops down, this knot. But you can also go into the pillow. So I probably could have used more stuffing for mine, but I put too much stuffing in the last one and it looked funny. So get your black and we'll do the mouth. Alright, I got my black. Make a slip knot. Put it on your hook. So I single crocheted a 3 because that's what a kissy face emoji looks like, is a number 3. So you're just going to have to decide how you want to do it. But for starters, find a post, start your stitch there. So these are posts. These are posts. And that's what you're going to use to put your stitches on. And then just basically draw a number 3. That's all I did. I had to do mine a couple of times because I screwed up, but I mean, you're basically just single crocheting a number 3. So it's not rocket science, but it is kind of weird. To try to figure out. Like I said, I had to do mine 3 times when I first did my other one. There's no rhyme or reason, like I can't give you a pattern for this, I'm just doing it, so and mine may not even come out looking that great like yours. Like I don't think this looks that great right now. I think that kind of looks funny. But if you know of any other way to do, and there's lots of different ways. You can just make a chain and sew this on like this, but I didn't want to do all that. That's a lot of fiddling around for me, trying to sew a chain on. So I just kind of wanted to crochet lips on. And when I realized the lips looked like a number 3, I thought, oh well, how hard could that be? And it turns out it's quite awkward and wasn't the easiest thing. So yeah, I should have done it lower, but not like you don't get the idea. So whenever you think you've got your mouth right, you can take it off and change it as many times as you want. And I don't really pull that tight with mine. You can just fasten off. Find my needle. And then as far as this goes, there's a number of things you can do. I'm just going to go down into it and pull through and cut off. And the same with this guy. I'm just going to go down into it, pull out tight, and snip it off. So there you have it. There's your kissy face. I could have done the mouth a little better, I think. But I was trying to do a different shape than I did before, kind of making it look like really pointy lips, but hopefully you're better at it than I am. So, but anyway, there's your kissy face emoji. Thanks for joining me, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.